Welcome to Brunner Studios. Today we will be learning Sonatina in C major, Opus 36, number 1 by Muzio Clementi. This is a standard piece of repertoire. Almost everyone learns this piece at some point in their piano journey. As the title says, we are in the key of C major. There are no flats or sharps in the key signature, but you will see a few accidentals in this piece. The time signature of Sonatina in C major is cut time. You may not have seen this before. C stands for common time, which is 4/4, and you have played in before. Cut time means you will count this piece in 2 rather than in 4. Let's look at it as if it was in 4. In the first measure, you would have 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and, just like always. If we are going to count this piece in cut time, the quarter note turns into an eighth note, and the eighth notes turn into 16th notes. You would count this as 1 E and A, 2 E and A. If you have not learned 16th notes yet, go ahead and count this piece in 4, but know you will need to count quickly as you learn the piece and it gains speed. The tempo marking for Sonatina is spiritoso, which means quickly or lively. Don't worry too much about the speed to begin with. Worry about playing it correctly. Your right hand begins this piece with your 3 on the C above middle C. Your left hand begins with your 2 on the C below middle C. At the end of measure 2, your right hand will jump up an octave and play with your 5 on G. When you begin playing measure 9, remember as you jump between A to A an octave higher, that this motion should be almost like turning a doorknob. Do not stretch your hand out wide, but instead make a small arc as you go between the notes. Notes you may need to review. In measure 9, you will see a note drawn above the staff on a ledger line. This is A. If you move into measure 10, you will see a note sitting on top of the line that is drawn, and that is B. If you have 2 lines that are drawn with a note on the second line, this is C. This C is 2 octaves above middle C. Moving to measure 16, you will see a note that is drawn 2 lines above the bass clef staff and then sat upon the top line. This is F above middle C. In the next measure, you have a note on the second line. This one is E flat above middle C. You will begin this piece forte or loud. In measure 5, the dynamic changes to piano. But you will see in measure 4, you begin on G and play down to the C. Put a small decrescendo here to flow smoothly into the piano. In measure 8, you return to forte. You could put a small crescendo here to lead you into the forte section. At measure 16, you will return to piano. As you are changing musical ideas between measures 15 and 16 and there is a rest, this should be an abrupt change from forte to piano. In square 20, you will return to forte. Let's go to the second page. On the second page in measure 24, you will return to piano. This is the original musical idea played down an octave. In square 29, you will begin a crescendo that leads you to measure 31, where you will play forte. You will hold forte to the end of the piece. Mentioning the end of the piece, here in measure 38, you end movement 1. You will see varied articulation in this piece. There are slurs that cover 3 beats, individual notes, and then you also have staccatos. Remember to play these exactly as written. The best advice I can give you for playing this piece is to break it into phrase sections and practice each section by itself. For example, if you begin in measure 1 and play to the end of measure 4, cross over the bar line and complete the phrase with the C in the bass clef. This is your first phrase. When you are ready to begin playing the second phrase, begin at measure 5 with both hands and then end at measure 8 on the downbeat and stop. Practice the phrases individually until you are comfortable with them before putting them all together. The first section you should learn in this piece is the first 3 lines. When you are comfortable with this, continue on to the second section. Practice just the second section until you are comfortable, and then play sections 1 and 2 together. Continue throughout the piece like this. Use your metronome. If you need to, set your metronome so that it ticks to the 8th note. When you can play the entire piece with the 8th note getting the emphasis, then return to playing with the metronome set to the quarter note. From here, gradually increase your speed until you can play the entire piece spiritoso. Remember, it is more important to play correctly than quickly. Thank you for participating in this video. If you would like to see more educational content like this, please like and subscribe to this channel.